everybody. Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I'm your host, Garrett Morlang, and here in the studio with me is...
Hey, what's up, man? It's JJ the DJ. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
DJ JJ, huh?
Yeah, man. It's freaking getting wild up in here. Super Gamer Boys, brother, you know? You know.
Well, it's our... apparently JJ's gotten into... using the old vape pen. We talked about it last episode as a joke, and he came back this week with one. So.
Here's the thing, man. There is so much benefit to CBD oil, brother. I mean, for real. This stuff makes you calm, it makes you cool and collected, and it also makes you hilarious. Sorry about that.
This is horrible audio.
No, I know.
So sorry to everyone out there listening, if you're still listening.
Sorry. Sorry.
No, he was over there smoking my highlighter. So
yeah, that's the thing. I don't think I was holding it correctly, and yeah. I think that's the worst part. That's probably the worst thing is that I held it like it was a cigarette, and I don't believe that's how you hold the ganja.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I wouldn't know. We've talked about that on an early episode too, so I have no tips for you.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like you try to play it off to me when we first started talking about doing a podcast together, and you were talking about your high school years filled with Dungeons and Dragons and comic books and staying up and doing late night sleepovers with all your guy friends, and my high school years was nothing but Metallica and smoking ganja all the time, and you actually literally asked me, what's ganja? And I thought, all right, man, we're going to have a great, great time together, you and me, my friend.
I don't know if I remember the conversation.
Hey, that's the way the conversation happened, Morlang.
No. Okay, so those guy friends I was having late night party hangouts with,
no excuses.
They were cousins, okay, and not like it was a bunch of random
That's
dudes.
That's even worse. You didn't have real friends. You had to have friends that were
right.
family.
Hey, I didn't live in the country. You take what you can get.
Yeah, we did a lot of that too. I'm just kidding.
But no, how's your week been?
Dude, it is amazing. I had one crazy weekend. My wife and I ended up going and hanging out with some new friends. We had an awesome time, did a little barbecue. We took our loud, obnoxious kids, and we're always trepidatious about taking our kids anywhere. Like, oh my gosh, our kids are going to be too wild and crazy. And when we got there, their kids were wild and crazy too. It was perfect. Like, our kids were doing great, and they loved their kids. We love them, Zach and Tierney. They're really good friends. And when we're talking, we're having like this mutual like interview process where before we set up the barbecue, and Zach looks at me real seriously. He's like, "So do you like video games?" And I said, "That's so interesting you say that, my friend. I happen to be a host / co-host on the greatest video game podcast in the world." And of course he answered, "Kind of funny?" And I said, "No, not kind of funny. The Super Gamer Boys." And he said, "The Super what?" I said, "The Super Gamer Boys." So of course I had to, take him to supergamerboys.com.
Okay, you did show him. I was going to say, I was hoping you didn't get through the whole conversation and then not actually tell him the name or something.
Are you kidding? I took Zach right to supergamerboys.com, and then I said, "Look, if you look real closely right here in big letters blinking like crazy, you can check out my Patreon."
Heck yeah. That was an early segue there. I guess we'll get into it here.
Well, I mean, if you personally want to check out my big blinking Patreon, check out my Patreon, tell your friends.
Sometimes you just ask me how my week's doing, but I see how it is.
I'm not really concerned about that. I'd like some money, please.
Okay. Well, if you guys haven't already, you can check us out over at patreon.com/supergamerboys, or if that URL is too hard to remember, you can go to supergamerboys.com, which is just as long.
Yeah, it's not really any shorter, yeah.
And there's a link there at the very top that says support us on Patreon. You can click on that. It takes you to the page as well. But yeah, over there we have 4 or 5 different tiers you can support us at for different amounts of money that get you different perks. And you get cool perks. We get cool money. We make you cool stuff. So yeah, it's a win-win-win for everyone. I think I mentioned that last week, but it's still a true statement.
Yeah, for $20 a month, we now go to your house and mow your lawn. Super Gamer Boys Lawn Service is one of our new
I don't like that every week you like come up with some random new tier. I'm not putting these on the site. Like
I'm trying to help us. I'm thinking outside the box, Garrett, and sometimes it's what you have to do.
So what if my buddy in Seattle supports us at $20 a month? You flying up to Seattle to mow his lawn?
I'm in it to win it, my friend. Well, so if that's what Sterling needs, that's what Sterling's going to get.
The plane ticket's not coming out of the Super Gamer Boys budget, so that's on you.
Sterling, I'm sorry, I can't come mow your lawn. I apologize.
No, but we got some cool perks over there. We got our sponsor level, gets you shout outs on the show. Our producer level lets you not only get the shout out on the show like our Patreon producer, Matt Liu, but you also get to come up with cool segments for the show. Like Matt came up with Losing Reviews, which we did last week. And we talked about Con Air.
Con Air was amazing.
Such a good movie.
M-Dog, you're still number one in my book, my friend.
And notice how I had this, I said Patreon producer, Matt Liu, because I don't know, I thought that's what we always called him. But maybe sometimes we just say producer Matt Liu, like we don't put the Patreon part.
We normally just say producer. So people actually thought he produced the show.
There's actually some friends of mine who are like, so Matt, actually, like, what do you do? Like, you produce a show? Like, that's pretty cool. Like, what? And he's just like, oh, no, I just support them on Patreon and I make up a segment that they do once in a while. Like, this is kind of a funny conversation.
That's a really cool conversation. I'm glad you shared that.
But yeah, so we have to specify now it's Patreon producer.
Patreon producer.
He's not actually our boss.
He's Pee-Pee.
He's our PP Matt Liu.
Yeah, PP Matt Liu.
I don't know if
he's going to love that. Don't you dare edit that one out.
I'm not going to edit it out. And fortunately, he's behind on our episode, so he won't hear this for another couple of weeks, hopefully.
Please keep supporting us, PP.
We have our buddy, our Patreon sponsor, not our actual sponsor, our Patreon sponsor.
No, Patreon sponsor. He's a PS.
Yeah, PS, Bill Bird.
Bill, what's up? Remember, not that long ago, we had this tier where I scratched his back.
Yeah.
So he actually heard that on the podcast and loved it. He laughed uncontrollably. So earlier today, he pocket dialed me. And so when he called me, I called him right back and no answer. I called him back again, no answer. And then he called me back and he said, "Sorry about that, Jay. I peck dialed you." And I said, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, "They're getting so bulging, right now. They're just growing like crazy. So I peck dialed you."
That sounds like he needs to see a doctor.
I was like, that sounds like if you have inflammation there, Bill, you might want to get that checked. So, again, shout out to Patreon sponsor Bill Bird.
Yeah, he's quit working out. He's working out too much.
That's what it is. Yeah, he did offer me a couple of tickets to the gun show. Then he flexed on me hard.
Yeah, carrying on those heavy backpacks, I've definitely put on a little muscle. Check that out. Huh?
Keyword little.
Okay. Thank you guys, both Patreon producer Matt Liu and Patreon sponsor Bill Bird, for supporting the podcast, and all you other honorary Super Gamer Boys that support us at the $5 tier. Without you, we couldn't do all the cool stuff we do for you guys. So thank you.
Absolutely, seriously, much appreciated, guys.
Alrighty, let's get into this week's Nerdy Nudes.
It's time for the Nerdy Nudes.
So I feel like I want to we've had a lot of new listeners recently in the last few weeks, and a lot of them weren't here from the beginning. Like, it was the very first episode. Instead of Nerdy News, I accidentally said Nerdy Nudes.
And I didn't let that slide. And I jumped right on it.
I just feel like I don't it's hard to pronounce that. I don't know if it's my
speech impediment?
Voice. Yeah, maybe I have a little bit of speech impediment here.
It's the fact that you're originally from New York. And you got that
Forget about it.
Hey, it's the Nerdy Nudes over here. Ah! And I tried to stress to you, that actually means there's no clothes on this when you say the word nudes. And you're like, no, it's like bringing up current events. You know what I mean? It's like bringing up topics from inside of the nudes. I'm like, no, I think you're missing the point. Forget about it.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out to all you new listeners. It actually is called Nerdy Nudes. I'm not mispronouncing it. It's actually called that. So there you go.
It was christened that by Garrett accidentally.
For what it's worth. Alrighty, let's get down to it. So we had kind of some weird news this last week. I don't know. It's normal after E3. It's just kind of like the whole month. Everyone's still hungover and in a still napping from E3. So news
It's
is
like
kinda
having tryptophan after Thanksgiving, dude. There's naps all over the place. People are passed out. Grandma looks like she's hungover. That's what happens right after E3. So although literally Grandma normally really is hungover after E3 for some reason.
Oh yeah. I don't. It's crazy. But yeah. So news is kind of like, it's been not bad news, but definitely not the exciting stuff that we were all getting pre-E3 and getting all hyped and everything. So as far as gaming news, we got 3 stories that are pretty decent that we might swap out for some more fun movie news. So we'll see. We're going to bring you 3 news stories today, and I might mix it up. I might give you 3 game ones, might give you 1 game one, and a couple movie ones. We'll see how the flow of the show's going here. Just to kind of, this is behind the scenes here.
So you're telling me that you're just going to throw me some curveballs, man? Yeah. You've got like a run of show here.
I have a run of show there, and I might not do what the run of show says. I'm feeling adventurous today. How
will I be able to like take these curveballs you throw at me and play? Well, good thing that I'm really good at playing soccer, Garrett. That's right.
Good thing you never read the show notes anyways. So.
I really don't.
You don't even know what news we're talking about, whether it's on that paper or not. You don't know what we're actually talking about. So,
I never do.
So let's get into this first one. Just a quick little cool news article, I thought anyways. It came out this last week from Matt Purslow over at IGN. Sony's patented another way to reduce loading times. So this goes on. Let's see at the beginning here. The patent titled System and Method. This is a very technical patent title, so strap in.
Okay, look, if you're going to read it, I know it's going to be a boring, like a bunch of silly information. Can you just at least read it like Kermit the Frog?
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Yes, you can, Garrett. Stop being a no, I don't, and be a yes, I can.
I can't do voices. I'm sorry. Here it is. Here's the title, and I think it's pretty awesome. System and Method for Dynamically Loading Game Software for Smooth Gameplay. That's the name of the patent.
That's a cool.
For smooth gameplay. I like the word smooth.
Yeah, they want it
very
smooth.
Like jazz, you know.
Yeah, you gotta say it like Barry White. Smooth.
Yeah. So that is technology that Sony is developing for the what people think is going to be for the PS5 system here. So here's what the article says. Effectively, this means if the game detects that you're approaching the boundary of an environment that is currently loaded. So, for example, you're playing Fallout and you're walking through the wasteland and you're coming up to a building or something. Normally, when you open a door, depending on what building you're going into, sometimes you would open that door, the screen goes black, there's a loading screen for like a minute, and then boom, you're inside the building. Well, now it's going to detect, you're getting close to this building. It's going to anticipate you walking into that building based off of actions and movements you're making. It's going to start loading the environment and putting it in a standby mode before you even get there and open the door. So that way, when you open that door, it's already loaded. You walk right in there. No black screen, no loading screen. The door just swings open. You walk into that next room, which is pretty cool because the way most video games hide the loading screen is either by just not hiding it and having a straight up loading screen, or what a lot of video games do is there will be like an elevator. You'll get in an elevator and you'll be on the elevator. You know, sometimes you're there for a few seconds and you get to the next floor. Sometimes you're there for like a minute or two and you're like, why is this taking so long? It's not part of the game. It's actually just trying to load the next level. God of War, when you, because with God of War, the big cool technological feat that they did with that game is there's no cuts in the entire game. It never fades to black. It never, like, the camera never goes black unless you die. Like, the camera stays on the entire game as if it's like a single camera take, basically, like if they did a single take for a movie or something. How they did loading screens is when you're in the canoe and you're going through like the caves and stuff in the rivers. Sometimes like the river will be a little longer, like going through the cave because it's loading, like it's trying to load the next area before you get to the end of the river into like the next area or something. Or you'd be going through a building and it's going to load the next area while you're going through like maybe a little like rock section, like you're on your hands and knees crawling on your like through some rubble, and then when you stand up on the other side, it's taken that time of you crawling to load the game. So they've come up with genius ways to hide the loading screen. You make it feel like, oh, it's not actually loading when it is. But with this technology, the cool thing about this is there won't be those awkward, weird elevator rides where you're just sitting there for 2 minutes twiddling your thumbs. Like, the idea is like, hey, you just open a door and you're in the next area. It's going to be super, not supernatural, but supernatural. Two words there.
I like how you do that. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But I don't know. I just think it's really cool technology that they're coming up with.
No,
I'm stoked.
That's really awesome, actually, because that's one of those things that take you out of the game.
Yes.
It takes you out of the world and the environment that you're in when it has this long, elongated loading process, and you're just like, oh, come on already. I love Red Dead Redemption 2, but sometimes, and I don't know if it's just because of the internet that I had, sometimes the loading process with looking at the old photos, funneling back and forth, would take forever, sometimes minutes.
No, I mean, I have a PS4 Pro. Like you guys have a regular PlayStation 4. I had a PS4 Pro, and I would sit there, like when I first loaded in the game, it would take 5-6 minutes for me. Like,
I love how you down-shamed my PS4.
Yeah,
I love how you're like, I personally have a PS4 Pro.
I only did that because you have my old PS4. So like,
I know. You have like my cast-off used stuff. I've just kind of like passed it on to you, my friend. Seriously? You want to tell how you got your PS4 Pro?
Nope.
So the shame level isn't as bad on how I feel about myself and my puny little PS4 right now?
No, that's fine.
Okay. I'm going to share it on the podcast one day when you're not looking.
No, it's fine. My grandma listens to the podcast, so thank you, Grandma, for buying me that PS4 Pro.
I didn't think you were going to give it up for real.
Yeah, no.
Grammy bought it for me.
My grandma bought it for me.
No, don't call her Grandma. Grammy. I want her to have like a cute little nickname.
Oh, yeah, we call her Grammy.
Do you really call her Grammy?
We totally call her Grammy.
Oh, this is the best day of my life.
Yeah.
This is the best day of my life.
My contacts on my phone is Grammy.
I love it.
You love
Can
it?
I get her number?
No.
What? Garrett.
No.
What are you worried about?
Lots of things.
Garrett, I would love to talk to Grammy. Can I call her Grammy?
You can call her whatever you want. Oh, no, you can't.
Man, I almost got to a technicality.
No, but okay, yeah, I got my PS4 for free. Well, whoop-de-doo,
No, your PS4 Pro.
Yeah. It was a very sweet Christmas gift. It
wasn't Christmas.
Special.
It was a just because.
No, it was
Garrett
Christmas.
is a rich boy, and it was a just because. It was like April 3rd, and she's like, "Happy April 3rd, Garrett." That's what I heard, Grammy.
She sounds like me. We have the same voice.
Yeah,
apparently.
It's the rich Thurston Howell, from Gilligan's Island.
Yep.
I just assume that's how all Grammys talk.
All Grammys from New York talk.
Yeah, I can't quite put forget about into that voice correctly.
Oh man. But no, but anyways, with Red Dead Redemption, back to the task at hand here. That game takes forever to load, even on the most powerful PS4 console. So I couldn't imagine having this on the PS5 with this technology, and alongside having the solid state drive, hard drive that they're going to put in there, having both of those together, games like Red Dead 2 could have load the whole world in 30 seconds or something. That would be incredible.
Honestly,
or even faster. I don't know the science behind it, but I couldn't imagine. That would be so awesome.
Honestly, this can change a whole lot for us, because the other thing is like you're saying about the solid state drive, the thing about Marvel Spider-Man, when they have the very fast, quick time from here to there, and it's just being half a second kind of thing, it's just
right.
Man, the PS5 can be changing everything. And I guess on that same level, the Xbox, whatever they've come up with. I know it's not Scarlet, though. They're going to call it something different.
No, yeah, it'll be something different. But even technically, it's not going to be PlayStation 5 either. Every time they talk about it, they say
the next console, the next generation.
The console currently known as PlayStation 5 or something, or it's a code name, but they don't actually.
Let's go ahead.
They've called it, they basically call it the next gen PlayStation console. I don't think Sony's actually ever said PS5. So, but. I mean,
it's pretty much going to be.
They're 4 for 4 so far. I don't know that. I don't see them veering off too much.
And I'm not really sure that Scarlet is going to be Scarlet, but what are they going to? I mean, is it going to be Xbox 2?
Yeah, I'm curious what they do with that one too. I mean, they might stick with Scarlet just because they've kind of cornered themselves. Like, yeah, they can't do Xbox 2, like, because it's technically the fourth console. Like, that's kind of weird to have like the Xbox 2, but it's actually the fourth. So maybe they might come up with something goofy and crazy. I mean, Nintendo does it. They come up with something crazy every time, like Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Nintendo Wii, Nintendo Switch. Like, they don't use numbers. They don't use it. Like, none of it makes sense. The GameCube, like, so why can't anyone else do it? I think it'd be fun to get Xbox in the game. I could see Xbox having all like the cool names, like, yeah, like Project Scarlet, or like what Xbox One X was originally called, Scorpio. Like all these.
That
like,
would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just keep it that? Scorpio's awesome.
Scorpio's sweet. Yeah, I think they could, if they take the same naming convention as Nintendo, just make it more like edgy and Halo and shooter and bro and cool, like, you know, like the
and
whole,
bro.
Like,
Because we know that's your favorite type of game is bro games.
yeah, you know me. I'm all about that COD.
Yep.
But no, it'll be interesting to see how they take this pretty sweet technology and mix it with the hardware that they're going to put in the console, and bringing us some, I don't know, huge games with very little effort. But okay, the next news story is kind of a more serious story. Not the way we typically go on Super Gamer Boys, but and even the topic is like, we're not necessarily super into the whole like Twitch streaming culture and stuff like that, and the personalities of in the gaming industry.
And we will be back on Twitch and doing streaming again once your wife Trudy lets up that 2-month ban from allowing me to come to your home for some silly little issue with the bathroom. Whatever. But as soon as the ban's over, we're back, baby.
Yeah, right.
We're going to so Twitch stream.
Speaking of bans, that's what this next story is.
What? What a great segue.
Yeah, not too shabby there. Thanks for calling it out, making it real fluid there. So this comes from Cecilia D'Anastasio over at Kotaku. She writes up, so this is a big story that broke. I'm going to give you a little background. This was a big story that broke during E3 that we didn't get to cover because there was just a lot of other news coming out, and I didn't feel like this was necessarily a huge thing over all the other, cool new releases that were coming out. So what happened on the 11th, Dr. Disrespect. He is a big Twitch streamer. He has...
apparently a PhD.
Apparently, based on the name, I don't know. But no, he has an enormous Twitch following. I don't know how many, but I want to say he has like thousands and thousands of subscribers on his Twitch channel. Like that's how he makes his living. He's rolling in the dough, just doing Twitch streams. He plays games like PUBG. He plays Fortnite, like stuff like that. And he has a persona. So his character, if you tune in his channel while he's streaming, he has like this wig with like long hair. He wears these big, like, I don't know, they remind me of like Oakley, but like with the metallic like orange finish on them and stuff, like crazy sport sunglasses. He has a nasty old like big mustache and stuff, and he usually wears like a big like headset on his head or something. So he's like a goofy looking dude. Here I have a picture that you can see there on that's Dr. Disrespect there.
It's kind of like my uncle.
He kind of looks like a redneck uncle a little bit.
He does.
He was banned from E3, and he was banned from Twitch for doing a live stream from inside of a bathroom at E3, which is crazy. So yeah, he decided it would be a good idea to take his live stream that he was doing currently, at E3, and head inside the bathroom. And I don't know what exactly the topic of conversation was, but that was a huge no-no. Violated Twitch's community guidelines, their terms of service, as well as there was California invasion of privacy laws that he broke. Not only that, but there was apparently there was a kid in the bathroom, so there's issues with like basically streaming a kid peeing at a urinal on live internet, basically. So it was a huge deal. Lost his E3 badge, like kicked out of E3, kicked off of Twitch. People were pretty pissed about the whole thing. Well, this news story came out last week. 2 weeks after suspending Dr. Disrespect for live streaming and bathroom, Twitch restores his channel.
Wow.
So last night, Twitch reinstated his real name is Guy Beam, I think it's how you pronounce it, Guy Beam, Dr. Disrespect, after the E3 incident involving a camera, a public bathroom, and a 14-day channel suspension. His whole shtick is a bald-faced irreverence. He was attending the E3 convention. On the first day of the show, he and his camera person live streamed him entering a bathroom. Tens of thousands of viewers watched him walk past bathroom using attendees, go into a stall, and all of which was apparently a violation of Twitch community guidelines, blah, 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 blah. So basically, yeah, they live streamed him going to the bathroom too. They followed him. He went in the stall. They didn't go into the stall with him, but he... Over the last 2 weeks, it says he didn't seem to be taking his ban very seriously, as evidenced by his posting an E3 recap on YouTube that he titled "Mishaps Leads to Recaps." So in the recap, he poked fun at Ninja, which is another big streamer. He posted emotes of himself in a bathroom stall. Basically, over the last 2 weeks, he's been just making light of it. He hasn't come out and done an apology or anything. He hasn't commented on the whole situation. He's really been making light and making a joke about it. And then in just 2 weeks, Twitch is just like, oh, here, like a little slap on the wrist. Here's your channel back. Go back to doing your thing. I don't know. This whole situation just like reeks with just like, I don't know. It just reeks. Like, this is such a horrible like thing. And
so
like,
this is hard because this isn't.
So just to be completely clear, if you're not sure what's going on here, like the issue here is that here he broke California state laws. He broke the terms and conditions of Twitch.
Decency laws, man.
Just like this general human decency and morals in general. And he's like, they gave him after 2 weeks. Basically, they gave him a vacation for 2 weeks, and they're like, okay, you can come back now. You're good to go. Like, I don't know. I'm
surprised
I saw this. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I'm kind of surprised there's no criminal charges. I mean, because it is a breaking of a California law. So I
mean, there may or may not be, but he hasn't commented one way or another. Like he hasn't he hasn't responded to any news outlets. He hasn't even though his thing got reinstated last week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
He, as far as I know, he hasn't streamed. Like, he hasn't done another stream or anything.
So here's the interesting thing about this whole situation. So I hear it, and I was a little prepared. I went through the article earlier on, and you and I had a conversation about this specifically, this issue with Dr. Disrespect. And so I don't know. I've never seen any of his streams, so I have no idea, no knowledge of the man's streams or like what he's like. I understand that it's a persona, it's a character and everything. And I'm not a huge fan of the automatically apologize, especially when you don't really mean it. You know, like, oh man, you offended one person, apologize. I always get like, oh man, you're not really sorry. You're just saying that because you're being told by people above you to
like
apologize.
A PR or something.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't have people above him because he's a Twitch streamer, but yeah, I'm sure like he has someone who manages his channel or something.
Sure. But my feeling on this is pretty simple. I think that Twitch, I get it. It might be a loss of income and stuff like that. By him not being on, having his channel going.
That's a lot of people's theories with why Twitch brought him back is because he has thousands of subscribers who subscribed, $5 a piece or something. Like that adds up. That's a huge chunk of money that Twitch is losing out on by not having him on there, which is crazy.
That's understandable, but at the same time, I think that Twitch, as an entity, needs to take something like this a lot more serious. And a 2-week slap on the wrist. Oh, listen, we're just podcasters. I mean, what do we really know? I can't talk about the whole thing like I'm a genius or like I'm coming from an era of wisdom and everything. But I think just common decency says that this guy should probably be forced to have a 6-month sabbatical, 1-year sabbatical, and then come back and be made to issue public apologies or, hey, you're going to need to go to some sensitivity training or whatever. Not that I'm a big fan, of that sensitivity training garbage that gets shoved down everybody's throat all the time. But I think that sometimes it's necessary. And this is coming from the guy who gets a lot of his funny bits edited off the show continuously. I hate being serious, Garrett. Don't make me do it again.
Sorry. But no, yeah, I feel like he deserved a lot longer than like the 2 weeks, like at least 6 months. At least, I don't know, 6 months to a year. Like it's kind of ridiculous. Like they just gave him a vacation. Like, hey, like you're good to go. Like, come on back. I don't know.
Or maybe even pay a fine.
Or pay a fine. There has to be. I just feel like there should have been more penalty than just like, hey,
community service, pay a fine to a charity, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't imagine he'll ever come back though to E3. I guarantee you E3 won't let him back in. Twitch might let him back, but E3 won't. So this is actually breaking news right now. Dr. Disrespect breaks character to apologize over a Twitch ban incident. So this just happened.
Wow.
So we were just saying how he hasn't responded. He's just responded now. July 1st.
You know what? That's great.
So I'm going to read this article from The Verge by Nick Stat over here because it has this kind of little statement. He streams on Twitch as a popular Dr. Disrespect, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Okay, I'd like to talk about Dr. Disrespect's Twitch ban from E3. This was my first IRL stream as the doc, and if it's not obvious by now, one of the things I try to stay true with is authenticity. Real life personas are so difficult to pull off, especially in today's society. Doc is edgy, highly opinionated, cocky, etc. And that certainly adds to the difficulty in staying authentic without offending anyone on a deeper personal level. When we were walking around filming at E3, we clearly weren't thinking about the laws, repercussions of filming in the bathroom because honestly, it wasn't in our mind frame at the time. We were sort of all in with the Doc live stream experience and capturing the E3 event through the character. We were so into the E3 IRL journey that we became a little blind in what's okay and what's not okay. We had no ill intentions, and I feel that was pretty obvious if you watch the entire thing. We wanted to capture an adventure. Unfortunately, we took that adventure into the wrong areas, unaware of the legalities surrounding it. On behalf of Dr. Disrespect brand, I apologize for this. I've sat back and absorbed a lot of opinions on the incident and the aftermath. I think those that have followed me for years outside of the character, even before Twitch, know what kind of person I am. I have an incredible support system from family, friends, business partners, community, and following. I'm very lucky to be considered an influential person in the entertainment space. Believe me, I don't take it for granted. We are working on a lot of things that take time that will hopefully continue to elevate the brand and gaming entertainment as a whole into the mainstream space. I have a ruthless passion for creativity, for entertaining people, making people laugh, growing new tools and tech. This incident was a step back, but like anything, we learn, become stronger, and move forward. If you follow the brand or myself, I hope you continue to stay with me on this vision.
Well, there's not a whole lot you can say. That's obviously had some help being able to put that together, but
yeah.
At least there's somewhat of a remorse. Man, that's crazy that this just happened to come out right now after we just got done saying, hey, what an idiot, he hasn't apologized. But it takes a big person to be able to say, hey, I made a mistake. So I'm glad that he did that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it still doesn't change. Like, I still feel the same way with the whole like Twitch thing. Like,
no, there still needs to be larger repercussions. There still should have been
bigger consequences to what he did, just based off of like even if you are in the zone, you are in the moment. Like, if you can't take the second to think through what you're doing, like, there's something wrong there. Like, I don't know.
Why are you
like,
pointing at me all weird right now? He's like pointing at me and like giving me the thumbs up. What the? Are you trying to say that I just say stuff without thinking about it?
No, I wasn't.
No, wait, what are you fumbling over your words for now, Morlang?
I wasn't trying to call you out.
I've never seen you stutter before.
I'm not calling you out here or anything.
You just pointed at me and you gave the thumbs up. You're killing me, Garrett.
It wasn't I was not trying
Why
to
are you sweating all of a sudden? The man is sweating.
But I do feel like there is I don't know, obviously, if you're going to be a Twitch streamer to thousands of people, you need to have some sort of a certain level of professionalism and maturity that obviously he doesn't have. So it's just kind of disappointing. I mean, I know no one's perfect, but like like
Speak for yourself,
like we talked about earlier. Like there's some things that are just like seem obvious. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna take a camera into a bathroom. That seems like a bad idea, whether I'm in character or not.
Yeah, and what you're talking about, what you're alluding to, is we had a conversation about it earlier, and I told you, like, look, sometimes I make choices in an attempt to be humorous or funny, and I know where the line's at, and sometimes I choose to go, ooh, I see the line, but I know that it would be so funny if I just went a little over it. But something like this with this guy, that's an obvious line that like you shouldn't cross. But it sounds like he's issuing an apology. I'm not saying, hey, okay, all's well with the world. I still think there needs to be bigger repercussions. I think that Twitch probably needed to reevaluate a little deeper than, putting him on a 2-week suspension. And again, this isn't the only time that he's been suspended for inappropriate actions. So he's done it in the past.
Yeah, there were some issues in the past with different things he said and done on his stream.
Apparently he did inappropriate stereotypical accents of people from other countries. And that crap is just unacceptable. Who the heck does that? I think that guy needs to be dragged in the street and flogged. I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's had some issues with he did a mock Chinese accent and got suspended for that for a little bit. He also he didn't get kicked off this channel, but he took a break for a while because of he was having an affair, and so he came. I mean, it was crazy. He came out on stream and basically was like, "Hey, like I'm really sorry for." He apologized to his wife and to his family and to his friends and then to his followers and Twitch viewers and like, hey, like I failed you guys, I failed my wife, I failed my family, and he took a break to kind of like get help and get through that situation and stuff. So I don't know. He's just had such an interesting history with Twitch and his viewers and the whole ride, and like even just in his personal life, it's like, oh, he's made some just real interesting decisions with with cheating and with like the racist accents he's done and stuff like that.
Why did your eyes dart over at me right now, Morlang?
I'm just making. This is a very small room.
I know it's a small room, but like you eyeballed me real fast and looked away, like you couldn't hold my eye. Seriously, look me in the eye, dude.
It's fine. It's fine.
Is it fine?
Yeah, because we're gonna go into the next news story now.
I'm changing subject, getting out of there quick as can be.
So the next one is The Office is leaving Netflix in 2021.
Oh no!
That
means I've got to binge watch all of it.
Means you got to binge watch it, baby. This comes to us from weirdly enough, CNN.com. Jill Dices, from CNN Business. Netflix is losing The Office in 2021. It's a sign of how intense the streaming wars have become. NBC is taking back the popular sitcom to offer on its own streaming platform. So basically, NBC is come out and been like, hey, we're going to start doing our own streaming platform. And by the way, Netflix, we want our show back. That won't happen until, like I said, 2021. But so this isn't a huge news piece, but I just like it kind of sprouted into a bigger conversation of like how convoluted the streaming space is getting. Like, oh, now everyone's just going to start doing their own. Like, it used to just be like Netflix and like Hulu, and like, okay, that was enough. And now there's Amazon Prime. Okay, well, okay, now they're up to 3. Well, now WWE has their own. Now UFC has their own. Now ESPN has their own. Now NBC is getting their own. Now Disney's coming out with their own. Warner Brothers is coming out with their own. It's like, okay, well, now we're spending like $100 a month for all these streaming services again.
And that's the thing. But here, the deal is this. You can pick and choose, but when they keep diluting it more and more, it makes it to where, oh, I really want to watch that show that's only on Disney Plus, or it's only on NBC Plus.
Yeah, so even with the options, you can totally pick and choose what you want. Like, maybe this month maybe I'm just going to take these 3 or 4, and these are like my main ones, like these 3 or something. But even still, yeah, like something like this, like I love The Office. Like right now, I already have Netflix, and it's so easy. Like when Trudy and I are sitting on the couch, and it's like, what do you want to watch? I don't know. What do you want to watch? I don't know. Let's put on The Office. Like that's just an easy show. It's just mindless because we've seen it a million times. Like we already know what happens, and we laugh still every time we watch it. Like it's hilarious. Just easy like show to just put on and laugh to. And like to think like, oh no, now we got to pay an extra like $10 a month for an NBC just to watch The Office. Like that's ridiculous. Like I don't know. Because I mean, yeah, NBC or Netflix was making a lot of money off The Office being on Netflix. Like Netflix was making money off Netflix, but then NBC was probably making bank too, because that had to have been one of their biggest watch. They're like Netflix's top between that and Friends. Like I guarantee you, that's where Netflix and both of the respective owners of those IPs make most of their money.
My wife has been watching through Friends again recently, and it's like I was trying to stress to her not that long ago, like you've seen this episode like 14 times, but the thing is it's still good.
Yeah,
it's still really good.
Yeah, and so I don't know. It just seems so crazy to me. Like, okay, one more streaming service that we're gonna have to pay for now if we want to watch The Office, apparently, which is I don't know. It's crazy. So. Actually, there's some stats here. The Office, which debuted on NBC in 2005, was streamed for about 52 billion minutes in 2018.
Oof.
That's a big number. Like how many, I don't know why they put it in minutes and not hours, but let's see. So 52 billion. How many zeros is that? That's 1,000, million. My calculator doesn't go that big. I'm just going to type it in Google. How about that? 52 billion minutes and hours. That's insane. Like that, and that was just 2018, and it's been on Netflix since, I don't even remember. Like it's one of those shows that's always been on Netflix pretty much since the show came out, or since Netflix came out. I want to say. So like back in like 2010 or something. So think about that. Like,
yeah, as far as like NBC joining the fray and having just yet another streaming service, what people have found, most people will go with 3 services. Some people will have a 4th service. You don't want to really get much more than that.
Yeah, if you start getting too crazy, like you're not going to have time to watch anything.
But yeah, you just have too many options. Even right now, we've got 3 services because we have Amazon Prime. So we have the Amazon service. Right. We have Netflix and Hulu.
Those are the 3. We have 4. We have CBS All Access too.
We had that. Janet loved it because she loves like Blue Bloods and some of the programs that CBS has. I told her to cancel it because I don't watch any of that stuff. And she kept it for a very long time. And she's like, I can't figure out how to cancel it. And I was like, I know this game. I've come up with this trick before.
Yeah, no, I just like reacted when you said CBS All Access because I was going to cancel ours. So I'm logging in right now to cancel it. Because we use it for Blue Bloods. We watch
Twilight Zone.
Well, I haven't watched. I'm really far behind. And I don't know. It's just a hard one to get time in to watch. But
I actually watched it on YouTube. The first couple episodes were on YouTube fully from CBS.
Cool. Yeah. What was I saying now? We watched we love the reality shows on there. So like Survivor and like The Amazing Race. But all those shows are on break right now. Like all the shows we watch on CBS are on break right now. So it's just like, yeah, why keep paying for it if they're not going on or something? But I don't know. And I feel like that's what like a lot of these streaming services are going to turn into is like, it'll be like every month we have a different streaming service. So kind of like pick and choose or something because you can't afford all of them all the time. Like there's no way. So I don't know.
And that's what is actually the best option for streaming versus cable. Think about how hard it was. I know you're a little younger than me, and you kind of have become an adult in the vein of, hey, there's streaming platforms like Netflix and Hulu. This is new. This isn't that old, and I know that you're in your early 20s, but this thing is that it was so hard if you got Comcast Cable or you got DirecTV or Dish Network, you would be locked into 2-year contracts. It was extremely difficult to try to cancel the services at the end of those 2-year commitments when you would call and say, hey, I don't want the service any longer. So a lot of times you would play one company against another to get a good deal. Hey, switch to DirecTV and you get a 3 months free and whatever, or DirecTV back and forth. So the problem was that it would be convoluted, flipping. Hold on, we're going to put you on hold. Oh, but if you stay with us, we'll give you this. It was so hard to cancel. Now, with the advent of having all of these streaming platforms, you're able to log in, click a button,
talk to anyone.
Done. So easy, so quick, so convenient. And you're just like, you know what? I don't want to pay for it right now. On WWE Network, when I canceled, they asked recently when I had to cancel for a little while, they asked why, and there's several different options because they want to know, like, hey, why are you canceling? And some of the options are, it's not fitting into my budget. I'm not happy with the content, whatever. And I just said it's not fitting into my budget right now at the moment. And it asked, will you want to come back in the future? Absolutely. Because I will when it's time, when I'm ready to watch an event that I want to watch or see a show that I like to show that they produce.
Well, so I was telling you that right now on air, I'm canceling my CBS All Access. I hit cancel subscription and this little pop-up came up. Keep streaming with 1 month free. Don't miss the critically acclaimed series, Star Trek Discovery, blah, 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 blah. I can redeem right now and get 1 month free. Because what they're hoping is you do that 1 month free and then forget to cancel next month and pay for another month.
You know you got to do it. Get the 1 month. Get the 1 month.
It's free. It's free.
You
I
have
guess.
to
Okay.
take it.
Redeem now. There we go.
I put a reminder on my phone for a month. Have you seen? Is Discovery already happened yet? Star Trek.
Yeah,
Discovery?
they've done their second season already.
Okay. Have you watched it?
No, I've only heard amazing things about it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been a Star Trek guy. Like the only Star Trek I've ever watched was the movies with what's his name, Chris Pine in there. Those are the only.
So you're saying you never saw Bill Shatner doing his thing, the trouble with tribbles, none of that kind of stuff?
No, I've never watched any of the old Star Treks, TV shows, movies.
I never
anything.
have either.
Yeah, I'm not a nerd, but
I hate to break it to you, Garrett.
Well, you know.
Oh, I know.
Alrighty, guys, let's get into the new releases here. We have out this last week, we had Super Mario Maker 2. Came out June 28th on Switch. This game is awesome. I'm going to talk about it on What You Plan because I pre-ordered it a while back. It finally came out. And dude, I'm loving it so much.
How is it that you pre-order games constantly? You get lots of games. I think that maybe you're secretly a little wealthier than you're letting on, more like, or did Grammy get it for you?
No.
You get every game that comes out, dude.
That's not true.
That's pretty true. It's pretty.
No,
that's pretty accurate.
I mean, I
Google that crap.
I pre-ordered this back when it was first announced, like last year sometime. I think it was last year, or like earlier this year. We have it in our budget. We have fun money every month. That's not Super Gamer Always budget. It's my own money. You know, I can do what I want with my own money.
Want. You're a grown man.
I can do what I want.
You do what you want. You're grown.
Stop judging me.
You're a grown up.
I can do this podcast by myself. I don't need you.
You can't do this podcast by yourself, Gary. Let's just go ahead and stop right there. You can't do this.
How much you want to bet?
Oh, Garrett, I don't bet because I usually lose.
Yeah, exactly. The second thing that's coming out this week is Apex Legends Season 2 comes out tomorrow as of recording, but it'll be yesterday when this comes out. So July 2nd, that's Tuesday. I can't wait.
I know.
I'm so excited for Season 2. I really dropped off of Season 1. It was just, and I talked to you about this. I mean, there were so many other games and movies and TV and E3. Like I just didn't, and we moved to a new house. A lot happened the last like month. That I've totally dropped off of Apex Legends the last 4 weeks. Between games, moving, E3, all this stuff. But on top of that, I started kind of just like it got a little stagnant. Like they just weren't adding anything new. So I was like, it's really hard to jump back in when I have this new thing I want to play, and especially like it's something new I can talk about on the podcast. Where with Apex, it's fun to play with my friends. Like I play with my buddy Sterling and my buddy Josh, but it's like. With not having anything new, like there wasn't necessarily anything new to talk about on the show. I mean, I posted that cool clip on Facebook and Twitter couple of weeks ago, which was pretty, of an awesome win we got. But I'm so excited for season 2 because from what the trailers show, like it looks like they're gonna add a lot of cool stuff, and I can't wait to like get super into it again, play it all the time, like every night, and be able to talk about it every week on the podcast again. And my buddy Sterling there hooked me up. He's helped me out with getting me the season pass too, so it's good to go. It's pretty awesome. I can't wait to jump in that.
Sterling for the win, dude. Like,
yeah.
I'm thinking that like what's happening is Sterling likes to play with you on there because you are good decoy. Like just kind of throw you out there.
Oh no, totally. I'm the bait. They're like, hey, go over there. I'm like, okay, I'm a big dummy. And I like running, like skipping across, like frolicking across the field while people are shooting at me.
I wondered why he started calling you bait. That's so awesome. I thought it was a fishing thing. I had no idea.
I'm the bait. They send me out there, people shoot at me, and then they just collect my dead body afterwards. And sometimes they revive me, sometimes they don't. No, just kidding. But cool. Well,
he's not kidding. There was tears in that little laugh right now. They don't revive you,
just
do
a little misty, a little misty.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Podcoin. Do you like to listen to Super Gamer Boys? Well, the Podcoin app pays you to listen to this podcast and every other podcast out there. It's the podcast player that pays. Just get the Podcoin app on your iPhone or Android device. It's free, it's super easy to use, and you can use the Podcoin app to earn Podcoin to claim gift cards or donate to charity. It's amazing how it works, and it turns your podcast listening into charity. Or if you just want to get some Amazon or Starbucks gift cards, it's pretty great. I use it every day now, listening to all of my favorite podcasts, even my own, to rack up those pod coins. I'm getting pretty close to getting my own rewards now. I love it, and it's super easy to use. You can get it from the App Store or the Android Store today. Seriously, just go get the Podcoin app, and if you use our invite code, GamerBoys, you'll get 300 Podcoin just for signing up if you use my code. That's 300 Podcoin just for signing up if you use our code, GamerBoys. That's GamerBoys. Go give the Podcoin app a try. Remember, it's a podcast player that pays. What have you been playing?
Oh man. So here's the thing. I got to play with my friend Zach a little bit of Borderlands 2. I didn't get to play too much. It's so colorful and fun. I am not good at first-person shooters at all. It was my first time playing with Zach, and he's like, hey, you want to play? And I'm like, yeah. And we started playing together, and I was just getting beaten. And I'm like, I'm normally a lot better at video games than this. And he's like, it's okay, buddy. And I'm like, no, that's the kind of stuff I say to my kid. Don't do that. Don't do that. No, so I didn't get to play much. I played maybe 15 minutes or so. This week has been busy. Work is just... It's a lot right now. Yeah,
it's our busy season. So even I've been like struggling to, like I struggled to play Mario. I was just like any second I had.
I struggle from like some super guilt. If I'm home and there's something to be done and I'm like, oh, I really want to relax and like play video game, but the house is dirty or like the toilet needs to be scrubbed or whatever, I feel like I haven't earned it. I need to like earn being able to sit down and play. And so it's just not been happening for me lately. But what I did get to do this past weekend was I got to catch up on some shows. I got to Netflix and chill because that's a thing.
Well, yeah, it is a thing. You're right about that.
I Netflix and chilled alone.
Okay.
While the kids and the wife were asleep.
That's called something else. But
no. Wait, why are you doing that hand gesture? So basically what I ended up doing was I'm going to admit some real stuff, a little secret.
Okay.
And what? Why are you shaking your head? No, you can edit it out if it's bad.
Okay.
No, the
my finger on the buzzer.
I never finished season 2 of Stranger Things. I know. I'm a fake gamer. So I actually ended up watching the last 3 or 4 episodes of Stranger Things and just binge watched the rest of them and finished the season in preparation for season 3 that's dropping this upcoming Thursday. So I watched it.
Excited.
Dude, I don't know what happened. I got disinterested in the season. I'd watched several, was so excited about it.
Let me guess. It was episode 7, I believe, where 11 goes to Chicago.
Oh my gosh, it was exactly that.
Yeah. That's where everyone kind of dropped off.
Dude, that's hilarious.
As long as you stuck through, you were good to go. But
no, I got to that episode and it was like, I don't know, it just got boring and and I love the kid.
Horrible.
I love the kid that plays 11. She's an excellent actor, but that episode sucked.
It just had nothing to do with the rest of the. I mean, it had a lot to do with the development of 11, but it just had very little implications to the rest of season 2. So it's just like, what the heck? Like, why? Like, yeah, okay, 11 is growing a lot from this. There's a lot of character development in that aspect, but I don't know, from as a whole of season 2, it was very, very much like off base and just like, what is going on here? What is
the episode dragged
Yes.
a lot. And I know that it was all about story arc and character development and stuff like that with her, but it dragged, and there's all these ancillary characters that are kind of thrown in. And you kind of see her take on this punk emo, I guess 80s grungy, like look or whatever, and that's kind of cool. She's kind of, Billy Badass or whatever, and that's cool. And it's also cool that later in the show, in the episodes, you're able to see that softer side as she goes to the dance and stuff like that. So it's like you do see like a huge development with 11, with seeing like, oh, but she's
or
still.
At the beginning of the season, she's like a little kid. At that episode, she like grows up, and then she like almost matures though at the end of the season.
Yes.
Like there's that arc kind of going from a baby to like this punk teen to like, oh, she's like kind of matured a little bit. Like they're all still kids, but
of course,
compared to the beginning of like season 1.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for season 3 of Stranger Things. I just absolutely remembered by getting into it and starting to watch an episode again. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. This is amazing. But I don't know why. It just took me like getting into it. Janet, my wife, would say like, hey, you should catch up on on Stranger Things. And I just don't really feel like it. I just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't in the mood. Mm-hmm. And man, I'm so glad that I caught up and now I'm ready to go. Probably one of the coolest things of the whole series, or for this season anyway, for season 2, was the character development between 11 and the Chief. Like their story together, like what they do together on screen, the hissy fit tantrums, the telekinesis tantrums, slamming the door and
because he's essentially adopted her as like a daughter, and
dude, it's some really great stuff. It's great acting, and it's like pretty intense and fun, and it's like it was good. It was probably some of the best acting of the whole season. Yeah, was between the two of them.
I'm stoked for season 3. The reviews are already out for it. Like a couple days ago, the reviews came out. People got to see it early, and they're just like raving about like, great story, great character development, great way like for this, like the whole arc of this season is great. And there was one review that even mentioned like the dynamic between like 11 and Hopper, and I think they even called him like Dad Hopper or something, like Daddy Hopper. I'm just like, yes, that's so good. So I'm excited for this new season coming Thursday.
Sweet. And then the other thing that I was able to catch up on just recently, the show that brought me in to the DCU, the show that brought me into wanting to watch comic book movies and being into superheroes, was CW's The Flash. Absolutely love that show. Season 5 dropped on Netflix recently. I hadn't been watching, and so I binge watched 3 or 4 episodes of that, and I haven't watched that in 7-8 months or whatever it is, maybe even a year. And getting back into it, it made me remember, oh my gosh, this show is amazing. So 2 shows that I was able to catch back up on, and that's because all the other shows kind of stopped. And then I found myself with some time to be able to watch some shows.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice when all the other shows stop. Like that's what we've noticed. Like all of our shows have stopped except for There's a new season of Master Chef. We're all about that Master Chef, baby. But no, it's just like, we're kind of like in a lull right now. It's kind of nice to have that, because then you can revisit stuff you missed or skipped and stuff like that. But alrighty, guys. Oh wait, I didn't do my what you playing. Oh,
Ooh.
man, we're going long here. Okay. I played more Crash Team Racing. It's awesome. I'm loving it. I got stuck on a race, a stupid race for like 4 days straight. Like I probably did this race like 200 times and could not beat it. I was so ticked. And you can't move on to the next race till you beat the previous one. You get to come in first. And so I raced it over and over and over in 4 days straight of just like beating my head against a wall. I finally beat it. It felt so good, and I just turned it off. I'm like, I'm taking a break. I need a break. Super Mario Maker 2 came out on Friday. I played it Thursday night because it comes out early on the West Coast because we're the best coast.
That's what they say.
It comes out at midnight on the East Coast, so we get it 3 hours early. Pretty awesome. So Thursday night, I was playing that Super Mario Maker 2, and dude, this game is so stinking good. It's the best of both worlds. I never played Super Mario Maker 1 on the Wii, or on the Wii U. But you get a great, you get hundreds of Nintendo-made Mario levels, like in a story mode. Like it's all levels that are made by Nintendo. So they're all like expertly crafted and like just hard enough, just challenging enough, just like interesting enough to like, and it's levels from all different like years of Nintendo. So there's levels that are designed to look like Super Mario Brothers. There's levels that are Super Mario Brothers 3 themed. Some of them are Super Mario World, which is personally my favorite game. And then there's even levels that are designed off of like the new Super Mario Brothers, like the 3D look, and then new Super Mario Brothers 3D World, which is like a DS game on the Nintendo DS. And it is so much stinking fun playing through this. And then on top of that, so not only do you get like hundreds of levels made by Nintendo to play through, but you also get to use the course maker, the level maker, and make your own levels and play other people's levels that they've made. So like yesterday, we had friends over at our house, and me and my buddy, we just handed the controller back and forth, and for like a couple hours straight, just like played Nintendo levels that people from around the world have made, like in their own time. And like they're so much stinking fun. Like they're so awesome because it's like they give you all the tools so you can to make any type of level you want. You can put hills, you can put mushrooms, you can put any enemy you want, from Goombas to chain chomps and all, like, you know, your classic Mario stuff. It is such a blast. I'm really loving it a lot. Like I highly recommend, if you have a Switch, get Mario Maker 2, because even just for the Nintendo made levels, just for like the hundreds of levels that you get made by Nintendo, it's worth the $60 for the game. But on top of that, like even after you beat all those, you have an unlimited amount of levels that are made by everyone else. Like it's technically a game that never ends. Like you pay $60 and it's a game that it'll be fresh and new for at least until I turn the servers off at Nintendo. So it's pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
So go get Super Mario Maker 2. That's a good one. So, alrighty, we're going to get into the question of the show here. So this one comes from a listener named Paul Purdom.
Wow. That's a coincidence, dude. I've got a little brother named Paul Purdom.
Yeah, kind of crazy, huh? He messaged us on Facebook, which you can do too.
I can?
You're
saying when you say you, do you mean me?
He is related to you, correct?
Yes, but when you say like you can do too, you're
I'm talking to listeners.
Oh, okay.
You know, when I say you, I'm not talking to you, unless I'm like looking at you. Unless I wink. If I wink at you,
don't wink at me, please. Please don't wink at me. Oh, no, he just winked at me.
Very awkwardly too. His question comes from Paul Purdom. JJ told me this was actually his stinkiest brother, so I don't know what that means. But
That's
apparently
true.
Paul is his smelliest brother. Out of all of his brothers, it's the smelliest one.
He had a horrible foot odor problem. Like as a kid, we used to call him Footsie. He just like an athlete's foot thing constantly. But he's a good-looking kid, and I say that because everybody goes, "Dude, he looks just like you," and I'm like, "He's a really good-looking kid," But he's like, "You're a little on the skinny side." Yeah, he was the only one of us that didn't have a weight problem. I don't know why. And some people would say that like I didn't let him eat. I'm like, whatever. Maybe I didn't. Yeah.
Oh man, no, he's not stinky. I promise. I at least.
Do you know that for sure?
I don't know that for sure. But.
Yeah, no, he's actually not a smelly guy. He's one of those like I like to bathe. I'm always taking showers and using something called deodorant. I'm like, so hoity-toity, oi polite, aren't we, Paul?
But he wrote in with a question through Facebook. His question was, what movies should one watch and in which order before watching Avengers Endgame? So you may be thinking, oh, wow, you've held this question for a long time, Garrett. Why didn't you answer this sooner? I will let you know he sent this after Avengers Endgame had came out, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he did. It was right after.
So it was already kind of a late question. So it's not on me. Don't make me out to be the bad guy here. It was one of those things where it came out, and then the following weeks, chaos ensued with E3. But
and let you peek behind the curtain on my brother. He's never watched any of the Marvel movies at all. So similar to me, it wasn't something that ever interested him. And I believe, and I tried to tell him, oh man, you got to watch. And he's like, nah. That's how he talks. And and yeah, I think that now he's kind of seeing like, hey, you know what? Everybody's swearing by them. Why not give them a try? They really are a lot of fun. And I'm glad that you asked this question, Paul, because there is an order to it. There is a list. You don't have to watch every single film.
So there's lots of lists.
You can.
There's a lot of lists. So in research for this question, I just Googled, I just typed in the Google, what movies do you need to watch? Or like what Marvel movies should I watch or something like that.
We're going to give you what experts say is the correct, and again, there's three different forms here. But then we'll give you our opinions as well.
This is what I'm thinking. We're going to go through these three lists really quick, and then what we're going to do is like at the very end give our definitive list. So we're going to basically merge these three lists into one list and give you like a top 10 because there's even 10 is
there's what
there's 22 movies. That's pretty generous. Even like that we're like, because a lot of people like give me like I want like 5 movies or 6 movies. Like no, the fact that we can cut it down to 10 is already like pretty generous of us. So, even these lists, one list is 11 movies, another list is actually it doesn't say how many movies. It looks like there's about 10 on here. Another one's only 8. I don't know how they manage that, but yeah. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go through these lists real quick, read through them, kind of discuss some things, and then at the very end, we're gonna give our definitive list of what we think you have to watch, and we're going to give you a top 10.
Okay, list number 1.
So the first list comes from Polygon. So they break it down into phases. So some people think the best way to watch movies is chronologically, as in like when they take place in the universe, which I think one of the lists is set up that way. This list is not. This is a list is set up in the way they came out in theaters, which in my opinion, I think is the best way to watch them because they made them a specific way.
They came out like that for a reason.
They came out that way for similar to like even watching Star Wars to this day. I'll watch episode 4, 5, and 6, and then I watch 1, 2, and 3.
So without having looked at any of the list that you're about to show me, because it has been a busy week, and I haven't, like I said, I haven't prepared for the first time ever. Without looking,
Go on.
Without looking at any of the list at all, I'm going to guarantee you, because 2008 was when these movies first started coming out, the first couple of them came out in 2008. The first one on each of these lists must be Iron Man 1.
And if you said that, you would be partially correct. So like I said, so
am I 2/3 right?
You're 2/3 right. So 2 of these movies are based off of when they came out, and then the third one's chronological. So chronologically, there's one that comes before it technically, or there's two that come before it technically, 2 or 3. But so yes, Iron Man was the very first movie that they came out with. let's just say right now that's definitive. Like, yeah, you have to watch Iron Man. If you don't watch Iron Man, you're not getting any of the rest of the movies. Like, that sets up the entire universe.
Absolutely agreed.
The next on Polygon's list here, this list is made by, let's give credit where credit's due. This is by Dave Gonzalez over at Polygon, so you can look it up for yourself if you want. Next, they have Captain America, The First Avenger. This came out 2011. So this kind of being like similar to like the Iron Man deal. I feel like in the rest of the series, Captain America is such a huge character, and like they talk about, like they make so many references to his first movie, like in the whole rest of the thing, from relationships with like Bucky and his love interest and Peggy Carter. I always forget her first name, but yeah, Peggy Carter.
I was going to say June Carter, but I think
it's Peggy Carter.
That's Johnny Cash's wife.
His love, him falling in love with Peggy Carter, and like that relationship, how it goes on throughout the rest of the movies and stuff, like all these. And it's the first. It says here, it's the first movie that features first and foremost the first and most prominent MCU Infinity Stone, the Space Stone, so also known as the Tesseract. So it's the first time we see an Infinity Stone. So that's a pretty good one. Let's see. Number 3 on this list is Marvel's Avengers. Okay, so they're kind of skipping a few movies that come up before that, but I feel like that's a pretty logical leap there. It's not a bad list to start with. So that's phase 1. Because Avengers is the first time they all come together. Because you really don't need Thor 1. Like Thor 1, to be honest, I hated Thor 1. I hated Thor 1 and 2. I didn't like Thor until Thor Ragnarok, and then I'm like, I can get behind this
Thor
guy.
1 was hot garbage.
Yeah, and you never saw 2, Dark World, but
I never saw
worse.
Dark World. I did see 1. I skipped Dark World because I had it on a limited time frame too, so I did a lot of going, I don't have the time to be able to watch all of these movies. Whether it be chronological or not, I need to pick and choose. And I used some ideas from some of the ideas you gave me, and then I also had to modify as I went. Going, you know what? I'm going to have to cut that one out. I don't have time for this one. I don't have time for that one. I'm going to watch this one. So like I haven't seen several of the movies, and I can always go back and watch them now. There were parts of the story that I don't know who that is. I don't know where that person fits into the story. And some people like yourself, you watched it with me the second time I watched Endgame, and you said, well, he was in this movie. It was my second time,
your first time.
Okay. And then no, it was my second time as well. We both watched it. The Super Gamer Boys Patreon supporters helped us go, and then we went a second time with our boss John Bird, and we went and had like a sweet time where you sat in a love seat with the feet kicked up with a total stranger and fell asleep on his shoulder. What?
That was you.
That's not true. You were drooling, and you had your head leaned on that man.
Okay.
It was weird because he didn't have a shirt on.
Jeez.
So I remember it.
Yeah. Okay. Phase 2 here, the movies they give us here. Captain America, The Winter Soldier. So that's Captain America 2. Again.
No.
What?
I know you're going to say yes. I say no.
I'm just reading the list. We're not deciding our list at all at this point.
Okay, let's do our list at the end.
That's what we're doing. Did you listen to anything I said?
Nah, I really
Okay. They have Captain America, Winter Soldier, and they have it there because this is where Captain pledges allegiance to his friends over the government, which kind of kicks off into what eventually becomes Captain America Civil War. So this is kind of the beginning of Civil War, and also the friendship between Steve and Natasha. This movie had a lot of story about like Shield and Shield and Hydra and what those are. Kind of went more in depth, so you kind of understood a lot of the references. The next one they have, so number 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a must-watch. This movie, even if you don't watch any other MCU movie, this is just a good movie in general. Like, you don't have to watch any other MCU movie. I feel like it totally stands on its own, and it's so hilarious. Chris Pratt's so good in Guardians. So this sets up it sets up more. It actually explains and describes what the powers or the Infinity Stones are. So that it kind of sets up like, okay, what in the world are the Infinity Stones? Like, that it explains like Thanos going after them. You kind of see 2 or 3 of the Power Stone or the Infinity Stones and where they're located. So that's kind of a big deal. It's a pretty cool movie. So, let's see, number 6 here, Avengers: Age of Ultron. This was the second Avengers movie. So again, this is when they all get back together again. And trying to think. Oh, this one, the way this one ends is super necessary. So did you watch Age of Ultron when you did your watch through?
No. I didn't see Age of Ultron.
So Thor Ragnarok probably didn't make any sense to you.
Thor Ragnarok was amazing, but as far as make any sense, no, it did not.
Yeah, because at the end of Age of Ultron, that kind of sets up what happens to a couple characters that pop up in Thor Ragnarok.
And why they're there. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I knew something had to have happened.
And then also another Infinity Stone pops up, and Scarlet Witch, and add Scarlet Witch to kind of like the group, and Quicksilver, but he doesn't last long, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Spoilers.
I didn't know anything about those characters.
Okay.
At all.
You know about Scarlet Witch because she's in all the other movies after that, but I'm bad at counting. 6. Okay. 7. Captain America: Civil War. This is another must-watch. It's basically an Avengers movie. I don't know why it's titled Captain America: Civil War, but it's all the Avengers are in it. And this is a fight between Tony and Steve. So, like Iron Man and Captain America. So that's a must-see because, again, it's one of those movies where the whole rest of the MCU, you see them butt heads, and it kind of explains why that's happening.
And this was like what the DC universe tried to do with Batman versus Superman.
Right.
The epic fight between 2 major headlining characters. But the thing is Marvel did it right.
Marvel had all the setup and the whole runway before then, where DC tried to kick off their kind of universe with that, which didn't make sense. Number 8, Spider-Man: Homecoming. That's a good one. Did you see Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Oh gosh, yeah,
yes.
Excellent.
That's such a good one.
Movie.
So that sets up Spider-Man's story and his relationship with Iron Man, which is pretty cool.
It's like Spider-Man movies finally being done right.
Yes. Oh no, it's definitely the best Spider-Man movie that's ever come out. I mean, so the newest one, Far From Home, it comes out tomorrow or Wednesday. It's this week sometime. So I definitely want to go see that. It's coming out this week, and I need to figure out a time to see that soon. But
so we're going to go together?
Date
night, little bros, night out.
Definitely not.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Thor Ragnarok's number 9. That's a good one because it sets up more Infinity Stones. It sets up more enemies that you see. I don't know. It's a perfect run up to Infinity War. They have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Infinity War on the list as well, which those are both self-explanatory. Well, Ant-Man and the Wasp, I don't know how. You need to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp. You never saw it, did you?
I haven't seen it, no.
So that one, the way that ends, it kind of sets up Infinity War. So that's Polygon's list. We're just going to run through the Vox list here. This is Vox list by Vox Creative. It says, this is a chronological order one. So this is Captain America Civil War, or Captain America First Avenger, then Captain Marvel, then, which I don't know if you need to see Captain Marvel, Iron Man, Marvel's Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America Civil War, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, and that's it, apparently? That's a strange list. I don't agree with that list at all.
That sounds like a pretty strange list, all right.
Like, I had, I don't think you need to see Captain Marvel.
I have not seen it yet, by the way.
Black Panther's good, but I
have not seen Black Panther, by the way.
Yeah, I guess Black Panther would be necessary, but still. Yeah, that's kind of a weird list. I don't know how I feel about that one. And then the last list was Collider's list. They have Iron Man. This one's in order by how they came out. Iron Man, Captain America, Marvel's Avengers, Winter Soldier, Thor: The Dark World. They say you should. They think you should watch Thor 2, which I would argue against. But Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War, Captain Marvel, and then for extra credit, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay. All right. So let's look at it like this, because we can the two of us could each sit here and pour over. Well, I think that it was 12 films or 8 films or whatever.
We're just doing 10. We're going to break it down to 10 that you have to watch.
What I would suggest is, if that's what we're doing, let's stick to a tight 10. Look, you're pressed for trying to get caught up, and the last couple of movies are Infinity War and Endgame. So you have to end with those two.
Well, we're ending with at least Infinity War. So we need 9 other movies. Because you can't count Endgame, because this is running up to, you said running up to Endgame.
All right. So
we need 9 movies. Iron Man is definitely number 1.
Definitely has to be number 1.
Right.
Okay, so if you're thinking, Paul, that you need to watch the Thor movie, that's a sound effect, by the way. No, you don't need to watch Thor. You don't need to watch the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk movie. Not necessary.
Well, let's just tell him the ones he does need to watch. That's what we're doing here. We're not going to tell him which ones not to watch. We're telling him the 10 movies that he has to watch.
Okay.
So first one's Iron Man.
First one is definitely Iron
Second
Man.
one, would you agree it'd be Captain America?
Captain America, yes. Even though it's boring, but yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's a great movie, but it sets up so much in the entire thing, you have to watch it. Like, I feel like you have to for the story. The next one would be Avengers, right?
Marvel Avengers.
Yeah, I feel like...
You can go right into that, yeah.
You'd have to watch Avengers. The next one is...
It's not... I don't believe Iron Man 2 is super necessary, but it's a fun watch.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 and even Iron Man 3 is good, but I just don't know.
But they don't really feed into the I mean, a very small amount, but as far as feeding into the story and, hey, you're just wanting to get caught up, not super necessary. But if you want to do extra credit, definitely watch them.
I think number 4 would be Captain America Winter Soldier, which you never watched.
I have not seen that one.
But that just sets up so much of the... like some more of just like the Avengers, so much more of the world, and like the whole the Hydra and SHIELD dynamic and stuff like that.
And there were aspects of that I did not follow because I didn't watch that. So Winter Soldier is important.
Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that sets up so much of all the Infinity Stone stuff. Like without that movie, you're not going to understand the Infinity Stones at all, and it's hilarious. It's
like seriously
one of the best movies of the whole series.
It's one of the best movies ever, not just of the series. That movie stands the test of time as being such an incredibly great movie. And I got to tell you, I didn't think it was going to be good at all. I'm like, why am I watching this? I loved it.
Because it's the best one.
That's just amazing. Its use of music and characters and comedy and action was superior to everything else.
Next would be Age of Ultron, which is Avengers Age of Ultron. So it's the second Avengers movie. Again, that sets up some more of like the whole, because that's the overarching whole story of the MCU is the relationship between the Avengers, like these heroes, and then their fight against eventually Thanos. And so that's kind of like the main, like you need to watch like Age of Ultron is it's an all right Avengers film. It's not great. Like, I feel like it's another kind of weak one, similar to like some of the Thor movies or even some of the Iron Man movies, but it's like, it's still necessary. It's not terrible. But
so
Age of Ultron 2, or Age of Ultron, which is Avengers 2. So that's number 6. We need 3 more movies.
And Civil War. Did we already say Civil War?
We have not said Civil War yet, but that would come next in the order of when they released. So I definitely, that's basically another Avengers movie. But it's so
Captain America
good.
Civil War, but it's essentially a Marvel Avengers movie.
Yeah. I'm looking at a list here of all the movies that came out in the order they came out next. Doctor Strange came out next. I
have not seen Doctor Strange, and I got to tell you, his character is amazing, but I don't know if it's super necessary. It probably would have helped if
I feel like
it.
That's like extra credit that I would strongly suggest you watch, kind of thing. Like it's not on the list, but it's like if you can, like, for a while is on Netflix. It's like I would, if you're willing to watch 11 movies instead of just 10, watch Doctor Strange, because he ends up, like, he kind of plays pretty big role in
the final film, the final two films.
Not a huge role, but he's
an important character. Yes,
does show up in Infinity War and Endgame and stuff like that.
Spoiler.
People know this stuff.
They don't know
even
this.
if they've never seen it. Like, obviously he's going to show up at some point in the future if they have a movie about him earlier on in the series, right? He has some cool stuff happens later on, and if he just like pops up, you're like, who the heck is this guy? Like, it's not going to make sense. So I would say Doctor Strange's an extra credit that I would highly recommend. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I don't. That
don't blaspheme.
No, it's an incredible movie. Again, I love Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, but this one doesn't necessarily push the plot of the MCU forward. It develops the characters more, but it doesn't help with the overarching story at all.
No.
Like, it's a separate story where they go off and they fight this a celestial being named Ego, I think his name is.
It's Ego, yeah.
Yeah.
Played by Kurt Russell. The movie is amazing, Paul.
Amazing
you have
movie.
to watch it, but not necessary to watch it in the course of this.
Another extra credit. Spider-Man Homecoming is a must-watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think with the list that we're coming up with is the ultimate list that is going to be used for generations.
Yes.
You've created something here, Paul. It's all you, man.
Let's see. Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And we're at 9. We're looking for one more right now before Infinity War.
Right. So do we pick Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, or Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I'm going to easily say that it has to be Thor Ragnarok.
That's so hard because all three of those are incredible movies that I feel like all have like an equal amount of... I feel like, you know what? Can we do this? Number 9 here is going to be a tie between all three of those. You just choose one. I would highly recommend Thor Ragnarok, but they all have equal importance to the story, I feel like.
And the reason that I chose Thor Ragnarok is because that's the one of those three that I watched. I didn't watch Ant-Man versus the Wasp, nor did I watch Black Panther yet.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of cheating, but at the same time, none of them have any more. Thor Ragnarok might have a little bit more importance to the overall story, but not much. Like, Black Panther still plays a huge role in Infinity War and Endgame, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, the post-credit scene, and as well as like the whole preceding story pretty much sets up, some Infinity War and Endgame stuff as well. So it's, I would say, let's put Thor Ragnarok, but then in brackets next to it, interchangeable with Black Panther and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Like, if you watch any of those three, but Thor Ragnarok's so freaking good. Like, I hated Thor 1 and 2, but Thor Ragnarok, brought me around on Thor. I'm like, this dude,
because
awesome.
They changed his character and made it exactly what he needed to be the entire time. It was like they took forever to get around to it, but they took him from being a big, muscly Greek god looking, beautiful dude, to being a big dumb meathead, and it was like strong as an ox and like a dumb blonde, with like quippy little things that he says, and it's like, man, why did they do that with Thor the whole time? Why did it take that long to get there?
Because up until then, he was just like the over-the-top cocky god character, and like, I'm better than you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, when they finally like let him loosen up a little bit, and he was just the goofy, silly, like dumb blonde dude, it's like, okay, this is great.
And it was like he did the like, I'm better than you think, but in a I'm laughing at myself or poking fun at myself idiot kind of way.
Right.
And it was well done. And then after that, of course, you want to go Infinity War and then go ahead and end it up with Endgame. So now that you've been helped out, you go and watch those movies and you get back to us. Let us know what you think.
Just going to read through it one last time in case you missed it. So this is our Super Game Boys definitive list.
Definitive.
It's our top 10 must-see of the MCU for story. Not necessarily our favorites, but for story. Iron Man, number 1. Captain America is number 2. Number 3 is Avengers. Number 4 is Captain America Winter Soldier. Number 5, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 6 is Avengers Age of Ultron. Number 7, Captain America Civil War. Number 8, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 9, Thor Ragnarok. parentheses, or Black Panther or Ant-Man and the Wasp, but we're leaning towards more Thor. And then number 10 is Infinity War, and that leads you right into Endgame with extra credit. So this is your little asterisk at the end. If you have extra time, extra money, whatever, watch Doctor Strange. Watch, what was the other one? There's
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And then I would even say the first Ant-Man was really good. Did you watch the first Ant-Man?
I have not seen the first Ant-Man.
Paul Rudd is so hilarious.
Oh, he's great. He was great in Endgame.
So like none of those three movies necessarily have super like huge implications in the story, but they're just fun movies. And I mean, they add to the story a little bit, but so yeah, those are super like extra credit on the side, those three. But yeah, that is a Super Gamer Boys definitive must-see for MCU story watch list 2019.
So if you want to, yeah, that's trademark, man. So if you want to make it really, really cool, bro, all you got to do is get out your vape pen, man, and just go ahead and suck her down and just watch some Marvel Universe movies, man. You know?
We better wrap this up quick before JJ gets high off that highlighter he's sucking on. But
dude, puff, puff, give. Puff, puff, give.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Super Gamer Boys. If you haven't yet, go over to patreon.com/supergamerboys. Check us out there. We have different tiers you can support us at for different amounts, depending on your budgetary situation. And every little bit helps. So
Grammy, I know you're listening, Grammy.
Stop.
Grammy, look, he got the PS4 Pro, and I realize he's like, you know, your grandson or whatever, but you think you could possibly like support the Super Gamer Boys? Grammy,
you can't beg people to support us on the podcast. That's just low.
No, it's your grandmother, so it's okay. So Grammy, here's the thing. I don't have any grandparents anymore. They're all dead. You're still alive. I am so willing to kiss up to you, to call you Grammy. I'll send you pictures of my kids right now. Whatever it takes. I'd love to get a PS4. I love you, Grammy.
You have a PS4. You're fine.
No, but I want another one.
You're fine. You can support us over there. Every little bit helps to help us keep bringing you cool stuff. If you have a chance, go over to iTunes and leave us 5 stars. Also leave a review. That helps out too. You can find us on supergamerboys.com, at supergamerboys on Twitter and Instagram, and it's facebook.com/supergamerboys. My personal Twitter is at @gmorlang. You can find me tweeting out, retweeting all those awesome giveaways throughout the week. That's what I do. Trying to get that free swag.
You always find me on Twitter at JJ Purdom. I'm there all the time. I finally did figure out my password, by the way.
Oh, good. Thank you so much to Star Andrews for our logo. Check her out on Instagram at Ground Floor Graphics and Facebook.com/Ground Floor Graphics. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real.
It's been real.
Okay, JJ is going to start getting existential here and talking all philosophical. He's puffing on the highlighter over there. So
I'll tell you what, man, puffing on the highlighter is actually not that bad. You'd be surprised. I'm feeling pretty good. Let me tell you. Am I still not holding it correctly, Garrett?
Still, I think you're holding it wrong. I don't think that's how it works.
We're going to have to Google that stuff.
Yeah, we'll YouTube that later. How to smoke vape.
Yes.
How to do the vape.
I really hope that that's not going to be in my Google search, because my Google search is pretty bad.
I can only imagine.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us right here at the Super Gamer Boys. He's Garrett. I'm JJ.
And we'll see you on the fifth. Oh, no.
That's perfect.
I'll catch you on the flippity flop.